Hey guys, it's Greg. Um, it's like 4:23 in the morning here. I just woke up from this crazy dream, and rather than write down or take the time to write this stuff down, I thought I'd just go ahead and get a video out on it. It's it's mainly to do with technology, and it was like looking at the end result, and I'm going to show you something real quick, because then I'm going to pause and cut this light because I don't like this much light. It's uh, but I want to go ahead and use this real quick just to get this out, and I took some photos also, so I'll put them up too. But this is uh, the 1809 Matthew Carey uh, family Bible that I bought a long time ago. You can see how thick this thing is. I'm going to see if I can get this up here to where you can see the date, and just pull back on it. Um, the cover, the binding, I've got to have fixed. Uh, anyway, I'm going to pause this real quick, and then I'm going to cut this light because it's just too bright in here. Okay, that's better. The light anyway for me. Um, this dream, uh, like I said, I wanted to just go ahead and get this on video rather than write this down, because while it's fresh in my mind, I am walking around, and it's like just like a scene right out of the movie The Road. It's like the Great Depression again. Um, there are people just living in tents, cardboard boxes, tarps, whatever they could, make a home out of. And they look like the Holocaust victims, and it wasn't it wasn't pleasant at all. And the thing is, there was uh, there's all these, and I don't know, maybe it's because of the Uber driverless car running over someone. Maybe that's why this popped in my mind. But there's all these cars like that have that little swirly thing on top, and there's nobody driving them, but they're militarized, and they're you know they they look like sentries basically, you know. And I just wonder, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I really have started to come to believe that we live in some type of digital construct. And um, like I said, with the reason I said there's a point to the Bible, me showing the Bible thing, which I'll go ahead and I'll point that out right now just to get that out of the way. Okay, the picture you're seeing here is of the main page that has the publishing information on it. This is just the zoomed out version I took a picture of. Now I'm going to switch it over and show you um, a closer one with the date. Okay, as you can see, this is an 1809, published by Matthew Carey. Um, I'm going to highlight this real quick. So I've added a yellow highlight to it to show, hopefully the data will show up a little better there. And there's a point to all of this, which I'll get to in a moment. Okay, this is Numbers chapter 18 verse 15, and if you notice it says, everything that openeth the matrix in all flesh, which they bring unto the Lord, whether it be of men or beast, shall be thine. Nevertheless, firstborn of man shalt thou surely. And it stops there, it goes on. But the point is, this Bible is 219 years old and has the word matrix in it, where it used to say womb. Okay, so if a physical object that's 219 years old, and you can see the foxing is still, if you know anything about book terms, the foxing, the little brown spots on the pages, you can see that it's, it's there. The word has been changed even under that. So I'm going to highlight the word. Okay, matrix is highlighted now. And that word used to be womb. So this has been in my possession for many years. And this is not the only change in here. It's just one, just as one per, for example. So I'm just using this Bible as an example to try to describe what the point I'm going to try to make anyway. Okay. Alright, so like I said, in this dream, I'm in this, it's like a wasteland. It's like I'm in the movie The Road, and I see this as being the end result of I guess the end result of humanity versus technology, and that's not to be used in any kind of a metaphor or anything. It's just that this is the end result. I don't think people realize and understand that the more and more technology grows, the more jobs go away. I mean, before long, everything's going to be automated. Let's just take, for instance, and the Uber driverless car just killed someone in Arizona, which is sad. It's negligible, it's senseless, and I thought I even heard someone say that there was actually a backup driver in the car, but it ran over someone. And these things in my dream were like military vehicles that had these swirling, locating GPS devices and cameras and whatnot all over the place. And it was like the Great Depression, from what I've seen in pictures, except, and then the people looked like they'd been in the Holocaust. I don't know. That's about as bad as it could get, But look back and think. I started to try to say, well, when did this all start? You know, well, as far as technology and people getting on board with it, as far as keeping up with it, especially, it all started with the internet. Um, I mean, uh, I had a TRS MC10 when I was like 13, and then upgraded to a Commodore 128, and then eventually a 264, Commodore 264, and then went it to a PC later. Um, I was 94, 95, 94 or so when AOL, and I went. I was with AOL for a while and went to Prodigy. I don't even know if anybody knows what Prodigy is. That was that was an alternative to AOL. And the thing is, it was 40 a month, $45 a month then, and that was a lot of money then. And you had like 2 hours time online for dial-up. Yeah, you kids that aren't if there's anybody younger than 40 or so watching right now, imagine that paying $45 a month for 2 hours of internet time. And I found a company called MindSpring. I think they were based out of Atlanta. It was dial-up still, of course, uh, and AOL and Prodigy, you stayed inside of uh, their system. They had a browser that you would use to go out, and um, with MindSpring, all you had to do was just dial straight into the server, and then you used uh, different programs. You know, you had to have your own browser, which back then was Internet Explorer, and believe it or not, you used to have to pay for Internet Explorer. You know, you had to buy it. Um, but you used a lot of this stuff that these people have today, they take for granted. They don't realize that it didn't used to be free. And I think that's why I champion open source software so much. I think that's what made a big difference was open source software, Linux, and um, alternatives. But anyway, getting back to the internet, people started to really started to. That's when they started having to have technology. You know, it was like, well, I've got to have this. I've got to be online. You know, before then it was, you know, you had people that had the little address book things. You could use that or not. It didn't mean shit. Didn't you know? Mostly that was for Wall Street type people, and or a calculator or what have you. But now, this here, this smartphone here, you can't get along without it. I don't know very many people that still have a home phone. I don't. This is my home phone, and um, but getting back to the digital construct, and if we're going to agree on that, let's agree that it is digital because the, the only way I can see them being able to manipulate anything that way in that fashion would have to be some type of a digital construct. Um, I mean, you can't just take a 219-year-old Bible and change the words in it, without it having it itself having some form of source code to it. And just like in any of these games, you know, I don't know if any of you've ever built levels for games. I used to play Quake a lot, and I built levels. And just as simple as putting a tree in the middle of a path. Okay, you put that tree there, that tree has rules. You have to go around that tree. And then there's people that are able to hack their way through it using clipping or whatever, to where you can walk through walls or see through walls, or God mode, where you can do everything you want to do. Never saw the fun in that, but um, if we're going to agree that this is some type of construct, let's just say it's digital. All right. Well, what was one of the biggest, one of the biggest changes that happened as far as digital? And I'm talking about before we went digital television. It was music, MP3 files. Okay. Now, let's say that, uh, for argument's sake, that these people that run the world, those families that run the world, oh, good grief, they don't mind sacrificing one industry, at least for the time being, to further their plan. And I'm talking about Napster now. Okay. Well, let's build a file sharing program, because now we've got everybody hooked online. We had to do that first, so the initial steps out of the way. So, okay, now we got to get everybody like-minded. Well, what if, just like with this Bible, I mean, we've seen that there's been genetic changes to the body. So, and we know that you can manipulate, people's minds with mind control and whatnot. So, what if they implement some type of source code into this music, and then create this program to where everybody can get something for free? Because if you can get it, you're going to get it, right? And it's like pouring fluoride in the water. It's just another way for them of manipulation. And I don't know if that, I don't know, maybe that's why, Gen X people are so affected, because we were the ones that were around when Napster came out. I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here. I don't have this thing figured out any more than you do, but I still try to look for some type of correlation to why, and I'm not saying that other people that you know there's exceptions to that, but it seems to be mostly Generation X that seem to be Mandela affected. So, was it Napster? Was it the music industry? Was it the MP3 files? Did they implement some type of manipulative program into the encoding of the file itself. And then, of course, you know, and I don't have to tell you this, that music has its own way of driving you. You know, it can alter your moods. It can, you know, affect you. Um, and you know that a lot of that goes back to my frequency training and vibration analysis and stuff. But um, what if Napster was just a controlled a controlled um, system to get it out, much like the chemtrails are now. You know, Napster was a controlled system to get this program out to everyone it could, as much as it could, as fast as they could. And you know, these things don't run on a time clock. We know that these people are very patient. So Napster was what, 2000, 2001, 99. Um, and you know, once they figured out that that works, you know, who's to say that it's just not being put into the CDs now? Or a lot of people download their music now. It's not even, you don't even go buy a CD anymore. You know, iTunes. Um, and then still, there are some people that don't buy their music at all. But it's just trying to think of, you know, what can be one of the common denominators, what a correlation to why my age group are the ones that are so affected by this. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't feel, I don't like this world. I'm becoming even more cynical than I've ever been. Um, I worry more about where we're headed now than I've ever worried. I don't like the way we're heading. Um, it just, looking at the dream and seeing what the end result would be is, and it's like people are oblivious to this. You'd think they would figure this out by now, that the more that technology increases, the the less jobs there are going to be. I mean, how are people going to make a living when uh, a plant or an industry that used to hire 800 people now only has 20 people, and that's only due to upkeep and maintenance of the machinery? And take, for instance, the Uber cars. How many people in this nation make a living driving a taxi? I mean, I'm sure that taxi drivers are very concerned right now, but since you don't drive a taxi and I don't drive a taxi, we don't consider that. Um, but eventually it's going to, all these tentacles are going to reach everywhere. I mean, uh, there's supposedly a McDonald's that doesn't have one single employee or one or two employees hardly. Everything comes in on a conveyor belt. Are you kidding me? You know, and McDonald's is known for hiring everybody. You know, everybody gets their start at McDonald's. I didn't, but I worked at a grocery store. I was a bag boy back before there was plastic bags. Um, I don't know. I I just know this dream was not pleasant at all. It was a nightmare, and I don't want I don't want to live in a world like that. But you can't tell people that that's what's coming. They don't believe you. They're not going to believe you. When you have people running around with their phone trying to capture invisible monsters and then texting their friends, come to these coordinates, you can just rack up. You know you've lost the war. I mean, come on. I thought that was the stupidest shit I'd ever heard of. I mean, there were people that were getting hit by cars, chasing monsters, Pokemons, or whatever the hell those damn things are. You don't see kids riding bikes anymore. You don't see backyard football. You don't see backyard baseball. You know, when I was young, bowling was fun, fishing, water skiing, and stuff like that. But kids today, they just, and it's not just kids. I mean, there's 40-year-olds that sit in their bedrooms days on end playing games, and they're oblivious to it. They don't care. They Some of them live in their mom's basement, maybe work a part-time job. I don't know. It Looking at my own son, who's 23, and the way he lives life. Mm-mm. There's no way I'd want to be part of that generation. No way. But I just wanted to get this out on video instead of write this down because it's. Before I finish up, one quick thing. Scientists, the CERN scientists, the that satanic ritual deal that went on at the tunnel. I mean, who in the hell is going to sit there for 6 hours and watch that shit? Come on. I mean, you've got to really be involved in something to sit there and want to watch that crap. And that's really got to mean something to you. So, um, these people, like at CERN, if they are able to manipulate the this construct we live in, well, they're going to. I mean, if they can, they will, because that's in their nature. Whereas, I don't know. They don't. I guess it's like. I guess it's like Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park that you were so busy being concerned with if you could, you didn't stop to think whether you should. And that pretty much fits the bill. So it just worries me to think about where, I mean, the D-Wave computer now, how far ahead are they? And it scares me to death that what they could actually do to us if when given the green light to do so. And I don't know. I don't know how to manipulate the source code, so I'm along for the ride, just like you will be. And I don't think there's any stopping it. So, uh, anyway, if you're still with me, thanks for taking the time to listen. I didn't mean to ramble on. I just was a bad dream, and it seems to be realistic. It's like I just see that's where we're heading. And it's scary. All right. Till I talk to you again, have a good one, and please be good to everyone else.